NBC has reported, and when the story from Bart Gellman came out last week, and we will have him on after vacation. We tried to get him in the past couple of days, but he's quite busy. When the story that Bart Gellman wrote last week, which indicated there were over 2,000, almost nearly 3,000 violations of the law in an audit by the NSA, most of which were supposedly inadvertent, some of which were not, that involved anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 Americans, each one of those violations. And there are all sorts of holes in that audit. When we found out that one of the reactions that I had was like, this is pretty stunning, because the president was either told a lie by the NSA when he went out and said, we have checks and balances on this. We don't have problems. We have a way to remediate, fix things when they happen. FISA court judge told the Washington Post last week that, no, there is no way to fix it. And it occurred to me that it was quite strange that the president would go out a week and a half knowing that Edward Snowden had these documents. Well, apparently, it's now being reported by NBC News that the NSA still does not know the full extent of what he took. And that, according to an intelligence community source, is overwhelmed in trying to assess the damage. Now, understand, Marcy Wheeler makes this point. It's a piece in The Atlantic, the same theme. We have seen time and time again where the NSA has come out and said, we are completely in control of what we're doing. Last Friday, the NSA's compliance director, John DeLong, assured journalists that the violations the NSA reported in 2012 were minuscule. For the past several months, various intelligence agencies have assured Congress and the public that it keeps U.S. person data very carefully guarded, so only authorized people can access it. How is it possible that the NSA can say with confidence that they keep information that they have collected on Americans very protected? We know exactly what we have, what's American and not American, once we store it in our databases. We keep it, there's a firewall there, we know who is assessing it and whatnot, but they cannot even come close to assessing what Edward Snowden walked away with. They have created such a monstrosity that they have no capacity whatsoever to measure whether or not they're violating people's rights, to measure who has access to what. They're just amassing massive amounts of data. This is the keystone totalitarians. It's stunning. There is no way, they don't even know. Listen to the NSA Director Keith Alexander have assured the public that the government knows the scope of the damage, but two separate sources briefed on the matter told NBC News that the NSA has been able to determine how many documents he took and what they are.
Surprise, surprise.
Keith Alexander, in July, speaking to a hacker conference. The assumption is our people are just out there wheeling and dealing. Nothing could be further from the truth. We have tremendous oversight over these programs. We can audit the actions of our people 100%, and we do that.
Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining.
If they can audit the actions of their people 100%, then they would surely not be overwhelmed and completely in the dark as to what Edward Snowden walked away with. NSA had poor data compartmentalization, said the sources, allowing Snowden, who was a system administrator, to roam freely across wide areas. By using a thin client computer, he remotely accessed the NSA data from his base in Hawaii. Appearing at the Aspen Security Forum on July 18th, as NSA Director Alexander was on a tour. He responded yes when NBC News correspondent Pete Williams asked, "Do you feel you know what Snowden got?" Yes. Was it a lot? Alexander again. Yes. On Tuesday, yesterday of this week, NSA spokesperson Vaney Vines said Alexander's Aspen answer was not intended to be as a, quote, a hard, we know everything completely answer to Williams' question. He did not say the assessment had been completed in absolute terms. The director answered a question about his general sense. Let me ask you,
Yes.
you know, we don't even seem to have NSA directors or heads of the Directorate of National Intelligence who even have the capacity to lie well. How many times do these guys have to get caught in lies? I mean, these are literally like watching two drowning men. It's stunning. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal out with a piece saying that the National Security Agency's spying tools extend deep into the domestic U.S. telecommunications infrastructure. They have access in conjunction with the telecommunications company. The NSA has built a system that can reach deep into the U.S. internet backbone and cover 75% of traffic in the country, including not only metadata, but the content of online communications. Fun fact. The NSA data center in Bluffdale, Utah, that they are building is going to require nearly 1.7 million gallons of water per day to operate and keep their computers and servers cool. You don't need 1.7 million gallons of water a day to keep servers and computers that can hold metadata cool. You need that much water to keep servers and computers and hard drives that are going to contain the contents of everything they access. Not just the metadata, but the content. I remember when I did Who's the Caboose? And for 45 minutes of video, I think you needed a hard drive about the size of what the old VCRs look like. Can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe 8 gig for 45 minutes of video. I can't remember. And now, of course, that can fit in. I can get 5 times that on a phone. What they're building there is to hold content, not metadata. Metadata is just text. It's a cool idea if you're talking about like a time capsule.
Maybe they'll come with, dude, you don't understand. We're just trying to build the world's most awesome time capsule.
It's
We're the
going to be
NSA."
sweet. I mean, the implications of the NSA not knowing what Snowden had access to is just mind-blowing. First off, what if Edward Snowden had decided, I'm not going to abscond with all this information. I'm just going to keep it, and I'm going to sort through it, and I'm going to pick and choose who in the U.S. government I'm going to F with. Or why even the U.S. government? Surely there must be some wealthy politician doing something who's willing to fund another level on my house in Hawaii. Surely there must be a business person who runs a company for whom $50,000 one-off for a piece of information is far worth it. I mean, how would the NSA even know at this point? If they can't retrace what he did 2 months out, 3 months out, how would they ever find it if they were never even notified that he had done something?
Take an even more mundane example of someone who doesn't have any power. What if not Edward Snowden? What if some random contractor is a stalker, wants to follow some girl? What protection does she even have to begin with? Of course.
But the point is that they can't even find this information when they're told it's happened. Someone has stolen your stuff. And you've been told someone's stolen your stuff and you still can't figure out what's been stolen? What if nobody told you that it was stolen? What if nobody made a show and went to a reporter and said, I'm going to do a short, an hour-long interview and put my video online and become an international story for weeks? What if that didn't happen? What if he just grabbed that information? What if he just grabbed that information and quietly sold it to the Russians and Chinese?
What's to say that hasn't already happened?
What's to say that hasn't already happened? Maybe the reason why Edward Snowden can say the Russians and the Chinese haven't gotten my information is because they don't need to.
It is kind of interesting how they have no interest in what he's got.
Well, look, we don't know. We don't know. But the point is, if the NSA cannot determine what has been stolen when they're aware there's been a theft, then how can they determine what's been stolen when they're not aware there's been a theft?